Welcome to Call the Nurse. Life support for the stories that don't make it in the chart. Because not all wounds are visible and not all healing is clinical. I'm Mindie, a nurse, a mom, and someone who's lived through pain, joy, and everything in between. Each week, I'll be sharing real life experiences from not only the front lines of nursing, but we'll dive into the raw and unfiltered moments of parenting and marriage, and also explore what it truly means to heal body, mind, and heart. Whether you're going through your own personal transformation or you just need a place to feel understood, you've come to the right place. So take a deep breath. You're not alone. Let's talk about it. Let's call the nurse. Hello, everyone. Today is a really special episode, a really important conversation that I think will benefit a lot of people. I know a lot of people ask me about this, and that is my relationship with my ex-husband, Armando. So he has graciously sat down with me to discuss divorce and co-parenting and me getting remarried and how he factors into all of that and watching someone else parent his child. So I think this is a great talk that I hope will really help a lot of people, because I know there are so many people out there that don't even want to look at their exes or their co-parents. And somehow we've been able to manage this for the last 11, 12 years now. We were married for 10 years and divorced now for about 12 years. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope something resonates with you, especially if you're struggling to co-parent with that ex of yours. Even if you have adult children, you're still going to have to interact with them. So stay tuned and listen to this really special but important conversation. Hello, ex-husband. Welcome to Call the Nurse podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on, and congratulations on starting this. I know you've been looking forward to launching for a long time.
Yeah, thank you. And if it wasn't for you, I probably wouldn't be a nurse, because you kind of planted that idea in my head when we were working together with college students many moons ago. And you were like, well, if you didn't go to med school, what about nursing? That's a great idea. So looky here. Here we are.
Here we are, all grown up.
So I wanted to bring you on because so many people ask us about our friendship. We get, as you know, oh, it's weird, or oh, there's you guys are too close, or you're blah blah blah. I almost think that people think it's more normal to hate each other, and they would never ask a question if we hated each other. But the fact that we're good friends and we are together a lot, for Haley, our daughter, it's just all of a sudden so weird. So I wanted to have you on, talk about how we co-parent, how we're able to kind of function and maneuver that, how we are successful divorcees. And not only that, is that right? Divorcees?
Yeah.
I know you corrected me on my grammar. And how even just as supportive you are of my new marriage, because I don't think many ex-husbands would be so supportive of that, especially with sharing a kid.
I mean, I think about it now, and it's like we got married in July 2004. You got pregnant in January 2000. We really only had a year and a half before, and it was, part of that was a good like honeymoon period or whatever, but some of it was dealing with issues. But then it's almost like we were just working together on helping you get through nursing school, working together on parenting, whatever. Like it was just it was almost like we were roommates or business, coworkers trying to work together rather than the romantic connection. I think that was kind of the core of why things kind of disintegrated. But, I think we both really worked hard together on parenting. And those early years when we started to notice developmental differences, that she was not talking as early as other kids, it was hard not to make comparisons with other kids that were her age.
Yeah.
Whether we're at the park or whether we're at church and seeing, neurotypical kids, speaking, interacting, or quote normally.
Yeah.
But I think we both loved her and wanted the best for her. And, I think we also took kind of two different approaches to it. I think you had a higher expectation. Like you wanted to make sure that she wanted to be as normal as possible to expose her as much to the world. And I kind of more hid her and wanted to give her wins and help her feel successful. But I think between the two it was a good balance.
Yeah. Well, I think
we really didn't know
to compensate, from what I thought maybe I didn't have. And you were using kind of your strengths as what, because you had a very, your mom was always such a good listener, and you were always kind of, that way. And I do, like you said, I think we we'd always worked, like you said, in the ministry together, and then there were parents. So I think that's just kind of what we kept
Yeah.
doing. And I think after 10 years, we were kind of like, okay, this is great. We could live as roommates for the rest of our life and be parents, but I think we want more than just that. And
Yeah.
that is kind of where we both, decided that maybe divorce was the best, but obviously, gosh, I didn't think I was going to cry, but I get sad because of just Haley. And when you break that news to your daughter at 5 years old, I'll never forget us telling her and her throwing her blanket over her head and saying, I never want to see light again. I think she was 5 or 6 years old. So it's really interesting to talk about it now, 20 years later. Well, I mean, at least for her, it would be what,
18.
13 years later. Yeah. Because we had no idea what we were in for. Because like you said, we knew things were different with her, but we didn't know to the extent. And wow, what we have endured the last 13 years, many, many amazing things, but some really tough ones. Like, I can't imagine us not being friends. Like, how would people who hate each other be able to navigate what we've navigated in the last 13 years? I don't know how we would have done it.
And most of my friends are in that situation where they rarely talk
Yeah.
to their ex. They drop their kid off at school and in the morning, and then the ex picks them up and they never talk. But we have so many things to coordinate, whether it's medications or schedule, especially with her lack of executive function. Prioritizing scheduling is not her strength. And so like making sure that we're on the same page to be able to schedule for her, I think is critical and has been for a long time. And
Yeah. Yeah. So we started going through, I think we started noticing just the way she speaks and all these different things. We started getting her testing, even at 2.5, 3 years old with the regional center. And then over the next few years, going through kindergarten and dealing with meltdowns and me going in and trying to be with her. And, after, let's see what she got really officially diagnosed with autism, I think at 7 or 8 years old, HD and those things. So I think we knew deep down it seemed like something like that. And then the parents around us would be, you guys are too focused on this. She's going to grow out of it. Like, let her be. And I think in a lot of ways we did, but then we'd get schools telling us, oh, you need to medicate. And I think those were really hard times because our close friends were saying, just let her be. And yet we knew deep down like something just wasn't, that wasn't right. It didn't seem very like neurotypical the way her peers were. So what we dealt with.
She's also a very attractive girl. Like she's super cute, right?
Yeah.
And you look at her and it seems like there's
Got her mommy's look.
yeah, there's you would be like there's nothing wrong with her, but she's like on that border of like
Yeah.
is there not? And I think
Right.
I think you were more of like, oh, she'll grow out of it. She's fine, normal, and would push her kind of that direction. And I was more of like, I don't know, so we were kind of on
Hold
this
her
like,
back? Do we not hold
yeah,
her back?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we held her back in kindergarten twice, right? Not for academic reasons, but more for her passivity and her lack of social confidence, right? But yeah, over the years, I think we saw her do some of the typical autism things, like covering her ears when there were loud noises, or like mirroring other people, like somebody that she admires, and tried to grab onto somebody that she thought was charismatic or socially adept.
Yeah.
Or even just her tapping out, like at a party or at any kind of social, like I think what they call it masking, where they can appear like they're social or appear like they're neurotypical and act like people, but then they just kind of, the stimulation gets to a certain point and she's at her max and she needs some time alone with her blankie.
Yeah, I remember being at your parents' for her third birthday, and I love to sing, and we sang happy birthday to her, and she plugged her ears and started like screaming, crying. And then I started crying because I think that's when I like really knew something was not right, because kids love birthdays and they love to be, sang to. And I remember your mom pulling me to the side and just saying, Mindie, you're going to have to appreciate what God gave you. This is not the path that you think that you're going to have. And man, those words were beyond true than what I could have ever. I mean, I look today and she is so right. Like we had a vision of what we thought life was going to be like. And wow. And I think that's what's been so important. And even through our divorce, like your parents overall were very gracious and, kept in touch and still, loved me and reached out to me at times. And I still wish them a happy birthday. And I think we both knew that we needed to be there for Haley. And I remember going through our divorce and when we decided and doing mediation, we didn't want to go through this rough divorce, but let's face it wasn't all roses. There was many days we were mad. There were many days, I think, coming out of even the mediation room and, us not even speaking, it would get very intense and very heated. Those were not great times.
I think anybody that's gone through a divorce, though, I mean, those type of feelings are come out. Marriage is not easy. I mean, you have these conflicting backgrounds and expectations and things it takes a lot. But I think that's why you put so much into it. You invest so much, especially when you have an autistic child and you're working so much together, that I was really on the fence. Like when things really started blowing up, I read a book called Too Good to Leave, Too Bad to Stay. It was written by a woman who grew up in a home where her mom was not getting along with the dad, and it was apparent to everybody.
Right.
So she dedicated her life to being a psychologist that helps people get off the fence, because it's not healthy for any child to see their parent not sticking up for themselves or see boundaries crossed or see infidelity or see whatever it is that's going on. Kids figure it out.
They do.
Especially when they're, teens or whatever. And I think it was like diagnosing, our situation just like a doctor would. And, should I stay or should I go? And I think after everything we went through, I eventually decided we need to go, but it wasn't like a knee-jerk reaction. I mean, we waited 3 years after we separated, we waited 3 years to even go see a mediator. Like we went to multiple couples therapy things. And I think sometimes that's what happens. I think couples knee-jerk react, like they're angry, something happens, and like everybody lawyers up, and then it costs a ton of money. Right. And it's just like at the end of the day, I sat down with the lawyer, and he was a very expensive lawyer, but he was older and he was near retirement. And he was
I didn't know that. And when was that?
And it was just a consultation. And he's like, you know what? I'm about to retire. I've made my money. I'm not looking to take advantage of people. He's like, but there's a lot of lawyers that do. And he's like, there's 7 different ways to get divorced, from sitting down at the kitchen table or writing on a napkin all the way up to lawyering up. And it's super expensive in many years and whatever. And, at the end of the day, you're coming up with an MSA, a marriage separation agreement that both of you sign. And it's how much custody, what are the payments, what are the asset splits look like? But you can spend a lot of money to get there, or you can save that money for your child. It's the same amount of resources. And he's like, I would rather that you save that money and give it to your child rather than give it to me.
Right.
So
that's really what we've done. I mean, for the most part, I mean, that's what we've done. And I remember even going to I'm not sure when you saw this attorney, if it was before mediation or not, but I remember I remember the mediation. I think one was like an attorney and one was like a therapist, right?
Right.
And I'll never forget sitting in the room and when they just did that first consultation with us, and they were like, regardless of what happens, regardless of what we decide in this room, the most important thing is that you guys are each other's biggest fans in front of Haley and in Haley's eyes.
Yeah.
Something I've never forgotten. And I think if we asked Haley today, she would absolutely say that. We've definitely had rough times over the years.
Yeah.
And I think overall, if not all in her mind, she thinks mom and dad are like the best of friends. And I think we've really done a good job not involving her in any disagreements or fights or even outside of divorce.
And they said that to us. They said, there is a book that was written by adult children of childhood divorce. I don't know if that makes sense, but asking them as adults, if you could go back and talk to your parents and tell them, I wish you would have done this, differently, or this is what helped us, right? And it was 3 things. It was being as geographically close as possible, not fighting in front of the kid, and not throwing each other under the bus when you're talking to your kid privately. And I feel like, we did that.
Are you struggling with a sports injury, joint issues, or hip or back pain that just won't go away? If so, listen up. Here at Call the Nurse, we talk about healing, and that includes the body. That's why I want to tell you about Avor's Medical Group in Lancaster, California. Avor's is a multi-specialty clinic renowned for its comprehensive trauma, orthopedic, pain management, and podiatry care. Avor's also offers advanced regenerative treatments like PRP and stem cell therapy, as well as chiropractic care. Their mission: help you move again, live again, because pain doesn't just affect your body, it affects your energy, your joy, your whole life. So if you're ready to feel better, get rid of those aches and pains, call Avor's at 661-726-5005 or visit avorsmedicalgroup.com to learn more. Oh, and don't forget to tell them Mindie sent you. Call them today. I think we've always, even at 18 now, I mean, it's kind of funny now. I mean, now you guys are like, she's 18 and you guys are both sarcastic and love to throw mom under the bus and do April Fool's jokes on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one got me good this year. So we always get to kind of like everybody, you guys get to laugh at me, which is great. What do you think, like when you were going through, I mean, obviously we were both going through it. What do you think you were feeling at that time or what were you feeling at that time when we were, getting the news that Haley potentially was not going to be, a normal kid? And I mean, I think we knew that when we were already going through a divorce. I don't know if you remember when she was getting assessments and, mom and dad would come up her house and she'd flip it over. And I don't want to talk about that right now. Like, how did that affect you?
I feel like I was dealing with two losses at the same time, and I think for both of us, obviously, like when you get married, you have a certain set of expectations or dreams of how you want things to be. And then when you have a kid, same thing.
Yeah.
And, Chad died, my best friend, my best man, and I was his, right?
Right after Haley was born. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm dealing in that. I went to that grief recovery class and it was helpful because it was like, life, there's so many things that you can grieve in life. And grief is defined as just the feeling of wishing something was different, better, or more.
Yeah.
And with our marriage, there are definitely things that I, wish were different or better. And I know you too. Like I know, for Haley, you wanted, like, she's beautiful and looked like you and whatever. And it was almost like you wanted a mini me. And so accepting that she's not a little mini Mindie, I think was hard, and
still can be, actually.
Yeah. And same with me, that it's, I wanted certain things, or interactions with her, like just having a conversation, especially with a kid who's autistic, just, hey, how was your day? How are you feeling? Like shutting down, like, I don't want to talk about it, or not having eye contact. Like her eyes are, I remember we had the ABA therapy where the goal was, okay, let's have a conversation. And you spend 30 seconds looking me in the eye with eye contact. And she eventually got there, but it was just.
Yeah. Or not interested in us at all. Right. I mean, kids overall aren't, but just totally. And like you said, I mean, she was so cute and she's still beautiful, but that only goes so far until like junior high when there's some atypical behaviors. And then even though pretty, it just didn't matter anymore. And then we started really, really going through some stuff. And that's a whole other episode on what we've gone through in the last 2 or 3 years. And hopefully, God willing, Haley will want to talk about her story one day. But again, I don't know how we could navigate that and hate each other. I see so many of my friends who like, oh, they can't even stand to like even talk. And I'm thinking, you and I like have to travel to like Utah back and forth together to look at places or go visit her. And how would people do this? I don't even know how.
I think, what I said about the grief, I went and saw a therapist and worked through all of that loss, the loss of the marriage, the loss of, a neurotypical child. And at the end of the day, like, you accept that everything happens for a reason. And it's for my good, it's for her good, it's for your good,
Even though it doesn't feel it,
Yeah, across the board, this is the way it was supposed to be. This is I had a book that I wrote, but the actual book that's being written is completely different. And accepting that and living in the moment, and grieving it. Like, it's okay to grieve it. It's okay to feel sad.
Yeah.
Cry and wish and whatever. But then you also have to shift back to reality and say, okay, what do I need to do to be different here? And as far as like my perspective with you, whatever happened between us happened.
Yeah.
And I can't change that. And we may not be, husband and wife like I had hoped, but now we have a job to do.
Right.
And I want, for our daughter's sake and for your mental health, because I still care about you. Even, all those years of friendship that we had, I still care about your well-being as a friend. Despite the romantic failures or whatever, like, you're still, a human that I've invested a lot in and spent a lot of time with and care about, not just for you, but for our daughter. Like, you are change who your mother is. Like, you are
I
her
feel like we're family.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember, go ahead.
I want you to be in the best mental, emotional, physical state you can for our daughter's sake.
Yeah.
And for your sake.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember you were dating one time, you were dating a girl and she was like, absolutely not. You're not going to be talking to your ex-wife. And that was just so different we hadn't really experienced that. And I, at this point, had already been with Alon for several years, wasn't married yet. And that was hard for me. It was hard for me because, and people would say, oh, why was it, hard? Is there something still there? No, it has nothing to do with that. It's Armando's my family. Like, that would just be weird. And I didn't feel like this girl was thinking about like the whole, yes, maybe we're not going to spend Christmas together. We're not going to go have, Taco Tuesdays together anymore or something. But like, we're family, like we're that close. We're very good friends. Even with my mom, like, you will always be family to us. So it's just odd that somebody was so not wanting that,
Yeah.
it was almost like, okay, I'm going to be like even grieving like my friend. And even though you're my daughter's dad, yes, there's boundaries, but it was just so different. I just feel like even this whole dating world, and that's something I'm actually really grateful for, is that you have always been. I mean, in some ways, I really didn't date a lot after we divorced. I mean, I ended up with Alon, and I remember telling you that this had an expiration date. I had no intentions on ending up with this guy, this surgeon at work. How do you think, or why do you think that you were able to support me dating, but also support once I did kind of find that person, you supported that relationship with Haley? Like, it's one thing that you wanted me to be happy with this man, but the fact that you actually encourage, like, hey, we need to get Haley to meet him. We need him to spend time with Haley. Like, I don't know many dads that would have encouraged that. They want to be dad.
I think it really took me getting over like forgiving and surrendering our relationship. Like we went through what, like a good 2 years of therapy to try and work it out. And at the end of it, I think we were both convinced, okay, it's not in the cards for us, right?
Mhm.
That doesn't mean though that life is over, right? I still want you to find somebody that's going to make you happy for your own sake and for our daughter's sake. And I also want to do that myself. And so that was our chapter is over. Let's write a new book and start over. And there's no reason to, never talk again or whatever. Like we've invested so much time. I think that's the hard thing, is seeing people that are together for 10 years and then they just shut that door. And it's
Yeah.
almost like
Like
feeling
they're
like,
strangers.
well, that was a waste, and I got to start over. But it's like, no, it's all an evolution. Like even dating itself, I feel like, is not just meeting a bunch of people, it's getting to know yourself.
Yeah.
And I think through our marriage and our divorce and on being co-parents, we've learned a ton about ourselves, and we've evolved as people and kind of treat each other on in that. And so I think with you, I knew it wasn't going to work for us, but I still want you to be happy. And so I supported, your relationship with Alon. And I hate when, like, I mean, let's be honest, when you get married or you're in a relationship with somebody, you're not just dating that person, you're dating their whole family and all their friends and their exes and the kids and whatever. So like, let's be one big pseudo family, like,
And we have.
so yeah. And I mean, I've tutored Alon's kids through high school and college chemistry and
Yes,
math.
did.
So like, I mean, why not? We're all humans who want to feel valued and listened to and, feel like we're connecting, and so if we're connecting under a different context, then so be it, So I haven't been able to find that special person that's able to accept us being friends.
We can say it's weird, but I think it has, for a daughter like ours, I think stability, especially in autism, like structure and stability. And again, I don't think we even realized how much this was going to come into play until she got older.
Right.
That was so huge for her. And I got to give major kudos to Alon, because I don't know many men, husbands, that would be okay with the level of friendship that you and I have. And I think knowing, it's foreign with Haley, I mean, with Haley, he's never really dealt with a neurodivergent kid, right? And when he gets a little nervous on what to do, he's like, okay, can we call Armando? Like he really looks to you to, help with her. And he's obviously super grateful that you've even helped with his kids. So I just think that she really needed that. So yeah, we've done Mother's Days. We've done Father's Days with you and Alon. We've done it all. But I wanted Haley to see you and I honor each other on those occasions. I thought that was always, really important. And I think people can do it. I think they just choose how they feel about their spouse. I'm not saying they should go do birthdays and stuff and holidays the way we do. I mean, at one point, I remember even with Alon's ex-wife, Haley's like, can't we all just live in like one house? Because she really loved, Aiden and Emily's mom, and she would see her at school sometimes. And why can't we just all live together? And then I thought, oh gosh, this poor kid is just not going to understand how the real world is working. But I just think, given her situation, her autism, I think it was so important. So when people ask me, how do you guys do it? I'm like, this is just what we do for her. I mean, this is just how we've always done it.
I also think, I mean, you have soldiers that are bonded for life because they were side by side in the trenches, in bloody confrontations, whatever. And I feel like we have been in the trenches with her through a lot.
Yes, very
tough things, whether it was like her refusing to take a shower, and getting in a screaming fight at 12 years old, all the way to Disney dying during COVID and us getting together to bury her and the trauma that she got there. And
well, Disney, for people who don't know us, Disney, we got this little puppy when Haley was 6 years old. I believe we were technically separated, but we still lived in the same house for probably what, a year, I think, just because we didn't want to disrupt Haley's schedule. And we got this little puppy and put in a box, and we just wanted Haley to have something because we knew we were going to be moving out. And the thought for both of us was so devastating for Haley. It was like unbearable. So we'd get this puppy, and she loved Disneyland and she loved Disney princesses as much as she says she doesn't want to, but named this dog Disney. And this dog was with her through our entire divorce. I mean, this dog, when she would come to my house, Disney would come. And when she would come to your house, Disney would come.
It's like the sibling we weren't able to give her.
Exactly, exactly. And man, when Disney died, that was rough. It's something that we, all of us, really, really grieved, and was a really hard thing because that was the thing that really stayed consistent for her. That I think was a gift that we gave her. I mean, I think that really helped make her feel stable and secure.
Yeah.
That was really,
even when we knew the marriage was ending, it's like, okay, let's give her something.
right, that she can kind of stay
consistent. But even, I mean, that was trauma, but even the trauma that she had in high school, socially, and, you know, some very hard things. Won't go into details, but like there has been some extremely traumatic things that she has had to deal with. And mainly it's because of her autism and her inability to draw appropriate social boundaries, or having insecurity or depression, or just a lot that she's had to deal with. And, you know, that's why, and that, you know, her being in Utah nowadays in a therapeutic boarding school, that was a very, very hard decision for us to make, and for us to not be on the same page while making that decision, or to be on different pages, you know, of like fighting over where she goes. I think that was crucial.
Yes.
To figure out what the right decision was. But, you know, touring these places together, having no idea because there's bad reviews on every single one, and trusting somebody that says this is the right one. And, you know, it's been the best thing for her. And that's a hard thing too. I think my tendency is, this is where we're different. I think my tendency is to coddle her and protect her. And like, I homeschooled her for 3/4 of, you know, sophomore year. But I realized like I didn't have the tools to be able to help her anymore, especially with my work schedule. And so to surrender that and give her into the hands of strangers was difficult, but it's been the best thing.
I would probably say outside of the situation that happened that one day with her, that was very difficult, taking her to Utah because we needed to get her in a situation where she could get some really intense help. I think us flying to Utah that day, that was, I think, the most difficult day I think we had ever had. I mean, me, you, my mom, Haley, all of us flying there together and saying goodbye to her. Again, how could we have done that if we were not on the same page? Or like you said, like if you think she should go to this other place and I think she should go here, or if parents were being manipulative and vindictive, trying to hurt the other, like imagine what our kid, and I think that happens a lot today. I think people use their kids as like, you know, bartering tools and like, you know, weapons against each other. Like the only person that suffers at that point is the kid. And then they grow up, you know, with all this animosity. I think we really tried to do what was best.
The hard things that she has gone through helped her grow and will continue to. And even with co-parenting, like, if she's 18, it's not going to end, like, especially with hers.
We're in it for life. You're stuck with me.
Yeah. I mean, probably mid-20s, you know, like the goal is not for her to live with dad till she's 30. It's for her to be an independent adult, you know. And so this next step that she's about to take of going into some other place, you know, an independent living facility. And I have to tell myself it's just like going away to college with roommates, just with guardrails and help and boundaries. And
she's not struggled with you know, any kind of substance abuse or anything like that. No drugs, no alcohol. I mean, that's not what we're discussing at all, thank God. And that's something that I think we both just pray every day, because, you know, she's in some ways she's so innocent and so naive. We pray that that never happens. And yet in some ways she's so wise. I mean, there are some things recently now that she'll say to me and I'm thinking, wow, if only we had that knowledge at 17, or if only we worked on inner child or boundaries and safe spaces, all these different things at this age. I mean, she's beyond us in so many ways.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. She has not had electronics for 2 years. How many teens take time out 2 years to work on themselves away from electronics, right? I mean, there's been obviously times when she's bored, but it's made her journal or get in touch with her feelings or
Right.
draw or read a book or whatever. Like, there's a lot more introspection I think she's had
Yeah.
because she's taken this time out to work on herself. And I think she will look back on it as that was a gift that, my parents gave me
Yeah, I
to
hope
take
so.
time out.
Yeah. And I think parents would, I mean, you and I felt the same way, like, really, she's going to go without a phone for like how long? I think parents are afraid to do that. They're afraid to upset their kids. They're afraid to make these hard decisions for them. Luckily, Haley did not fight us on a lot of this, getting her some extra help when it came to some things she was struggling with. I think it would have been a lot harder, but I think parents' tendencies are to not do these hard things because they're afraid of upsetting their kid. Well, this has been a great discussion. Hopefully somebody will learn from our mistakes and maybe we've done a few things right. And hopefully we've cleared up some things on how people wonder how we co-parent so well and how you and Alon really even make this work. Thank you, ex-husband, baby daddy. I appreciate you chatting. I have a feeling we're going to do this again because I think people are going to want to know more
Part two.
a dynamic, and maybe I can get you and Alon together for an interview one day. That would be an interesting conversation on how you guys each view things. But
Yeah.
Thanks for joining Call the Nurse. And
Thank you for having me out, and congratulations on your launching.
Thank you. Thank you. I look forward to celebrating, and yeah, we'll see you soon.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye. Thanks for listening to Call the Nurse. I'm Mindie, nurse, mom, wife, navigating life one shift, one story, one breath at a time. If today's episode resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone who just might need a little life support. Until next time, breathe deeply and heal gently, and I'll see you next shift.